So as a buyer, what do you do if the appraisal on the house you are purchasing comes in lower than the value that you're paying? Hi, I'm Don Pelletier. I'm owner and broker at the Don Pelletier Group. To obtain buyer financing, part of the transaction process is for your lender to order an appraisal on the property. So what is an appraisal? Well, an appraisal is basically an unbiased estimate or opinion of the fair market value of the property, and it's usually more often than not performed by a licensed appraiser. The appraisal is done through an inspection of the property and also by looking at recently sold comparable properties in the same area that you're wanting to purchase in, based on the condition, the location, the upgrades, etc. There are times, however, though, when the appraisal does come in lower than the accepted offer price. As a buyer, this can be really frustrating and disappointing, as it could mean you won't be approved for your full loan amount. But don't despair, because there really are some options available to you as a buyer. Like, for example, one option is you can challenge the appraisal. If you and your agent believe that the appraiser may have missed some important details, you can challenge the appraiser and ask for what is known as a reconsideration by the bank. Sometimes there are errors in appraisal as well, and if you can show evidence to support your claim, then it may become possible to have the appraiser revise their written report. Or you can also order a second appraisal. Some lenders, for example, will allow for a reconsideration of value, and therefore they will allow for a second appraisal to be ordered. However, that can cost you another appraisal fee, so it can be, a bit pricey. You also risk the chance it still may not pay off. In other words, if it doesn't come in on the value a second time. Also, you can negotiate with the seller. The best scenario is to try and negotiate with the seller on the difference in the sales price versus the appraised value. This option is probably the easiest and can usually be completed with a good agent negotiating on your behalf. Finally, you have the option to cancel the sale if the appraisal doesn't come in on the value. If you have an appraisal contingency in place, that is, then you have the option to cancel the sale if the doesn't come in at the price that you're paying. This option really is usually the very least favorite route to take, and that's why it's always wise to have an experienced agent with good negotiating skills that can help work out any appraisal discrepancies to your advantage. We do this on a daily basis for the past 40 years, so we've got a wealth of experience that we're happy to put to work on your behalf. Don Pelletier here. You can contact my team at 858-336-1114 so we can help you strategize the sale or the purchase of your next home, and we'll guide you every step of the way.